Yeah. Apologies, man. Had a little bit of issues with the Wi-Fi. For some reason, it got disconnected, froze, and then it just had to go back and restart everything. So if you were here before, come on back. Come on back, y'all. There you go. Yeah, man. Apologies for that. It was kind of weird. The Wi-Fi went all squirrely, and we just had to go back and restart everything. So hopefully everything's good now, man. Y'all can come back in. The fire's out. It's all safe. Don't worry, I'll make up for the time. I think we lost about 10, 15 minutes there. We'll tack it on to the end. It's all good. So come on back, man. Come on back, bring all your questions and all of that stuff. Let's just pretend that we're just starting now. And we'll start over. Give people time to come back in the room. And there you go. Looks like everybody's still here. That's dedication. It's dedication right there, man. Because some of y'all could have went to sleep. It's late enough that you could have gone to bed, but you stayed up and waited. Appreciate that. Look at that. It's like nothing happened. It's like nothing happened. There we go. Red Law 18. Respect from Chicago. What's happening? Philippe Hosco. Yeah, man. I was a little worried too, but that's how it goes, right? You have 4 perfect days. You can't all be perfect. You got to eventually run into problems. That's just how the world works. That's okay though. Jack, what's happening from Mexico? Michael Puccetti, thanks, bro. Thanks from New Jersey. Yeah, all right. Yeah, don't worry about the lost time, man. We'll make up for it. We will make up for it. Fake drummer from the Philippines, 3:25 in the morning. I think right now you win. Right now you get the trophy, the dedication award, because that's crazy. 3:25 a.m. and I've already been sleeping for 6 hours. Marcia Smith got nothing but time. I'm the same. It's a Friday. I got some ribs out on the patio. I got to keep my eye on them. But other than that, it's all good. Zero knows what time it is with the tuning. He's seeing all the tuning videos that I got here on the channel. Looks like he's had some success. Got all his toms done in 20 minutes. That's the whole point. Tuning does not have to be hard, man. Congratulations. Pork, shoulder, or brisket? Are you asking what I'm doing? Or are you asking what I prefer? If you're asking what I'm doing, I got a rack of back ribs going on right now. If you're asking what my favorite is, brisket, 100%. 100%, man. There's nothing like an 8-hour smoked brisket. It's the greatest pleasures you'll ever have in your whole life. Okay, I'm going to take a stab at this name here. Thies Van Beek from Luxembourg. If I pronounce that wrong, let me know. If I'm right, send me 5 stars in the chat. Chad Phillips says, since I'm from Canada, he's never heard any A's in my vocabulary. You know what? I'm Canadian, but I don't do the A thing. I don't think I've ever done the A thing. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, Canadians like to say A a lot. Eh? And I don't think I've done that since public school. All right, let's find some questions and get on with this. First of all, if you guys were here in the first half before we got cut off, you know why we're here. You know what we're celebrating. I don't need to repeat all of that. Just remember that after you leave here, you got to run to the shop, hit that link in the description, and order you something. Now, let's see what's going on here, man. What to look for when buying a snare drum, except for the wood. When you're shopping for snare drums, this is my advice. You can take it or leave it. But whenever I'm shopping for snare drums, size comes first. That's the first thing I look at is size. Then maybe, wood or metal. Unless I walk into the store dead set on buying a wood snare or a metal snare or whatever. If that ain't my first concern when I walk in there, I'm only looking for size. Because it's generally, when I'm going shopping for a snare, there's usually a purpose to it, unless I'm out for like a collector's or something, or if I'm looking for an A&F, whatever. But if you're just like general shopping for a snare drum, look at size first. And just try to determine what you want to do with it. What kind of workload are you trying to put on this snare? Or are you looking for a snare for a specific purpose, like an accessory snare, like like back in the 80s, piccolos were a big thing, so everybody was going like 14x3 flat, like pancake snares. They were great for side snares. A lot of the fusion drummers used to do that. These days, people are buying snares for different purposes. It's almost like the complete opposite is happening these days. And a lot of people want giant, deep snares for that massive, like fat, wet 70s sound. In which case, then, yeah, you're going to want 6, 6.5, all the way up to 8 if you can get it. And or maybe you're looking for just a smaller accessory, like a 12-inch, like a popcorn snare or something like that. But yeah, man, size first for me. That's the first thing I look at. And then because I don't really care too much about the wood, right? If you're in a music shop and they allow you to try gear out, all you're gonna do is grab a stick and smack it. If it sounds good to you, then who cares what wood it is? Like, it's not my concern. One's not gonna last any longer than the other one. Maybe the other thing that I look at is that, if it gets my attention, because I'm all about aesthetics. I don't know if you knew that, but this kit is friggin' gorgeous. Like, I can set up a lawn chair down here and stare at my kit for hours and not get bored. My kit's gotta look hot. I do have a black pair, just a plain black pair of Stage Customs, but that's just a workhorse kit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be pretty, but my go-to kit has gotta look hot. So the first thing, maybe the second thing, aesthetics is a big thing for me, man. The thing has to look cool. So that's my thoughts on that. Let's see what else we got going here. Hunter from Newfoundland, what's happening? Ha! JB from Ottawa says, nice COVID sticking together mask and your merch. Dude, I want to shout you out. You probably, I don't know you might be psychic or something, but I planned on telling you this today. I was going to tell you guys, if you didn't know, like if you needed some accessories to go with your Rooted in Rhythm merch, I got some. I don't know if y'all knew this, but we got masks in the shop. and they're called Sticking Together. They come in 4 colors: black, blue, red, and gray. The material is really nice and comfortable. It's a nice, soft, breathable material. It won't really fog up your glasses as much as those medical masks. So if you want a cool accessory, we got these. These are about 12 bucks US in the shop. I just think that's funny that you brought that up, because I was totally going to tell you all about it. So shout out to JB from Ottawa. Hopefully you grab some. Yeah. Tom V has a good question. Let's talk about doubles for a second. Tom V says, having trouble bringing my doubles from practice pad to drum, especially the floor tom. Internet says practice on pillows. But then I can't snap the second note out with the fingers. Do you play doubles with the wrists? Here's another telepathic viewer, because I got this set up right here just to show y'all what's happening. I can demonstrate what the problem is with these doubles, or what the issue is anyway. First of all, you know, I don't want to get into the debate whether or not pillows are cool to practice on, because some of the world's most notable drummers say that practicing on pillows is a good idea. So, I mean, take it or leave it. I mean, if you want to try it, you can. Here's my whole thing with practicing on pillows. Take this with a grain of salt, or write it on your refrigerator. But here's the thing. Double strokes are all about rebounds. All right? Part of learning how to play a double, a large part of learning how to play a double stroke, is feeling out both strokes. Right? Practicing on pillows, the reason why I'm not 100% down with that is because there's absolutely no give with pillows. Now, the argument would be, well, that's the advantage. I don't see that. When you're learning how to bounce a basketball, when you learn how to dribble and feel the physics involved with dribbling a basketball, it wouldn't make any sense if you did it on a sandy beach. That's my whole thing, right? You want to be able to feel what that ball feels like, not only when it leaves your hand, but when it comes back in your hand. So you can get that momentum going. When you throw a stick on a pillow, it just dies. So you got to work, you got to overwork, I think, your wrists. I think it's a horrible idea for beginners, but you have to overwork your wrists, and you don't get the benefit of feeling what the stick feels like when it comes back into your hand, right? A double stroke is one stroke and a controlled bounce. You can't control a bounce on a pillow. You got to pull them all out. Again, some say that's the advantage. I'm not down with that. I'm like, I would rather want to know what it feels like to throw the stick down and then catch the rebound when it comes back up. That's the whole process of playing the double stroke. So, you know, when you're going for a double, and you've heard other drummers say this as well, but the whole idea of putting the accent on the second stroke, that's the key and the trick to playing clean doubles on larger drums with drum heads that have a little bit more buoyancy to them. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier to play doubles on your snare drum because the snare head is a lot tighter. When you go to a floor tom now, you got to learn how to ride those waves, right? If you want to get the same volume out of your floor tom than you will out of your snare drum, then you want to be able to focus on that second accent of the double. You're just not going to be able to do that on a pillow. On a pillow, you really got to work hard, and the technique, I think, just feels different. And I say, you know, if you're going to learn it the right way. So that's my advice with that. And as far as, you know, do you play doubles with your wrists? Yeah, there's two different ways to play doubles. You can play it from the wrist, or you can play it from the elbow. So playing from the wrist, looks like that. Playing from the elbow, you almost kind of, you don't want to 100% lock the wrist out, but you want to concentrate more on playing it from here. And you can get even more control if you play it from here. Right? So that's my whole thing with doubles, man. The whole pillow thing, again, I'm not saying it's wrong, because plenty of drummers, like I said, have practiced that way. I'm just not down with it. It just doesn't, like I said, it's like learning how to dribble a basketball on a sandy beach. It just doesn't make sense, right? You want to be able to feel both movements, the stick going down and the stick coming back up. So that's my whole thing with that, bro. James Moss from South Wales, UK. What's happening, James? Really enjoyed the live stream last night. Thanks for checking it out. No hiccups last night, but it's Friday. I guess that happens. It's too nice outside, so something's got to go wrong. Purchased a black t-shirt and a hoodie. Shout out to James Moss from South Wales, UK, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. You're helping to make this a big success. Appreciate it. Does a drummer need to be able to read sheet music to play in a band? Or what does it take to be a drummer in a band? You know what? It depends on the band. And it depends on where you want to go. Like, what do you want to do? To what capacity do you want to be a professional drummer? On the one hand, you can have a full career as a working drummer without knowing how to read. There are plenty of examples out there of that. Drummers that don't know how to read, been touring their entire lives, playing with all kinds of different people. Dennis Chambers is one of them. Dennis Chambers doesn't read. He's got an alien memory. He can walk into a session, listen up and down to a track a few times, catch everything, hit it, done, collect the check, go home. But on the other side of the fence, reading music can open up a lot of doors for you if you're going to be a session guy, because there's a lot of work that will open up to you just because you have that ability. There will be a few, I don't want to say closed doors, but there's some work that you're probably going to miss out on if you can't read music. Pit work and theater work being one of them, right? That's you can't get a job doing any kind of theater work, pit work, any type of theater production if you can't read, right? So that is an important skill. Carter McLean doing The Lion King, there's no way he would have got that gig if he couldn't read music. So it does open up a lot of doors for you if you know how to read. Can you have a full career without reading? Of course. I've played, I don't even know how many gigs over 20 years. I've never been asked to read. Most cases, they give you the material ahead of time. You know, you can spend a week with it, 2 weeks, or however long they give you to learn it. You'll develop a method of learning music, and you can do it. You can do it however you want. I got my own sort of personal little method for learning songs and writing tunes out so I know the roadmap and all that kind of thing. And it comes in super handy, whether I have 1 week to learn it or 1 hour to learn it. I just have this method that I made up to just help me write out the roadmap of the tune. I can scratch out specific beats if I need to write them out. I have basic knowledge of notation, so I can do that if I need to. I'm not one of these dudes. I'm not like Vinny that can just walk into a whole thing and read the whole thing up and down. I'm not that dude. But, you know, if you leave me enough time with the material, I'll show up to the first rehearsal fully prepared. So, yeah, on the one hand, reading is a good skill to have. It's an important thing to know. But if you don't know it, you're not out of luck. You can get by without knowing how to read for sure. T-Dog 650 watching from Pittsburgh. He's got the Steelers colors. I see what you did there. Yeah, football just started up. I haven't seen a game yet. I would assume it's a little weird because there's no crowd now. But we'll see, man. Go Saints, by the way. Yeah, who else is here? Who else is here, man? Hartley Hart says his index finger hurts after playing. Why is that? I don't know. I don't know. But I can tell you that my educated guess is that it's got a lot to do with your grip. I don't know how you're holding the stick, but you know, if you're holding it the right way, your index finger shouldn't absorb any impact from the stick. So perhaps you just need an adjustment on the grip of your stick. I'm going to assume that you're a match grip player. I'll just give you a few tips for match grip. Number one, loose hands, right? 2018, if you've been following this channel during the entire year, 2018, hashtag loose hands. You guys know what that's all about. But as far as gripping the stick, man, it's just, you just want it. You want this grip to be just barely tight enough to keep the stick from falling out of your hands. That's how loose it needs to be. If you're gripping the stick hard like this, you're holding it like a hammer, your hand is going to absorb a lot of impact every single time you hit the snare or a tom or whatever. So the first thing you want to consider doing is loosening your grip. The second thing, and this is I talked about this in a previous live stream, think about where your fulcrum is. All right, your fulcrum is the balance point on the stick and where it meets in your hands. Now, most drummers, their fulcrum is with the index finger. My suggestion to you is consider a tip that I got from Dave Weckl, who says to switch your fulcrum to the middle finger. When you switch to your middle finger for your fulcrum, your index finger isn't really doing anything much at all. Just acts as a guide for the stick, right? You would be shocked and amazed at how much better it feels once you make that transition. You make that switch to the middle finger, your fulcrum. Your grip loosens up. Your range of motion feels larger. Like it just feels super, super good when you do that. So if you want to get an idea what that feels like, if that's your stick right there, grab it like this with your thumb and your middle finger. Fleshy part of your thumb over top, and then it's going to sit, the stick's going to sit on the second digit of the middle finger. Pick up your stick and just hold it like that. And then take these last two fingers and just put them on the stick and then relax your hand. Done. Now all you got to do is practice. Just practice doing that. Just practice basic singles and doubles. But if you saw, I don't know if you saw, I don't know if you were able to see that just now. But yeah, my index finger ain't doing nothing. It's just chilling, watching all the other fingers work. This feels so good when you do this, man. So I guarantee you, take that tip, right? Switch your fulcrum to the middle finger. You'll never injure your index finger again, unless for whatever reason you're drunk and some unfortunate mishap happens. There you go. There you go. Who else is in line here? Big V rocks. Beat down Brown, always informative. I needed you 50 years ago. I wasn't alive 50 years ago, but I probably would have helped you. Thanks, bro. Thanks for watching. Jean-Francois Israel is watching from Haiti. Don't tell me this channel ain't worldwide, man. Do It All Davey says Travis Barker has a good video on holding the sticks right. Let me tell you something about Travis Barker. I used to goof on Travis Barker. I used to hate on that dude years ago. Back when I was working in the music store, I was not a fan of Travis Barker. I thought he played like a barbarian and zero finesse, hit too hard. And every single kid that walked in idolized Travis Barker. Just couldn't see it. Didn't know why. Let me tell you something about Travis Barker. That dude is a beast. I did not know until like a few years ago how monstrous the dude is on a snare drum. He's got drum corps chops for days. That dude's got a ton of technique in the hands, man. So yeah, shout out to Travis Barker for sure. Trevor Brown, watching from New Zealand. What's happening, man? Joshua Thomas, what's your take on electronic drums? My take on electronic drums. You know what I think? Let me tell you what I think. Let me take a sip of this water. And I'm going to tell you what I think about electronic drums. I think electronic drums serve a purpose. And for the purpose that they serve, they're fantastic. But I also can't stand them. I cannot stand playing electronic drums. Let me rephrase that. I can't stand gigging on electronic drums. It's the most horrible experience you'll ever have. Trying to play a gig on an electronic kit. For someone that considers themselves to be an emotional, technical player, playing on an electronic kit is a friggin' nightmare, man. You can't get any emotion out of an electronic kit. It's like trying to tickle a mannequin. You know what I mean? So for that reason, I can't stand them. They feel like this to me. This is a good example. Love this practice pad. It's fantastic. Would I gig on a whole kit that felt like this? No. I'd have a horrible night. They would have to be paying me crazy amounts of dough for me to gig on an electronic kit. I know a lot of churches, because of the environment and sound reasons, there's a lot of electronic kits are sitting in a lot of churches because just of the noise factor or whatever. Yeah, if you want to learn how to play drums, it's best to just learn on real drums because there's a lot of other stuff that comes with it that you just got to know. Like you're going to miss out on all of the nuances and all of the subtleties and everything else that comes with, playing an acoustic kit with any type of emotion. But again, on the other side of the fence, if you have an acoustic kit in the house and say you got another room with an electronic kit, that kit in that room is going to serve you really well for just basic, practicing, warming up. I used to have an electronic kit, used to have a Roland kit. Back when my wife and I first got married, we were sort of renting this house and there was a spare room in there. And I had an electronic kit in there and it really helped me to prepare for gigs. Because in situations where maybe it's too late to play this kit, you can plug your, at the time it was a CD player, but you can plug your phone straight into an electronic kit now and practice your whole set of music. If you're preparing for a show, that's fabulous. For that reason, I love them. Other than that, can't stand them. Don't like them at all. Dylan Jansen is watching from the Caribbean. Worldwide, man. Shout out to Dylan. What's happening? You know what? The other thing, too, is that electronic kits are laughably expensive, especially the Rolands. Like the high-end Roland kits, come on, man. Who wants to spend that kind of dough on something that don't feel good? Michael McAllister from Oklahoma, what's happening? Mo Knott wants to know, did it take you long to adapt to that grip? Because it's taken me a long time trying to get it down. You know what? It really didn't. Didn't feel weird at all. It was just a matter of switching the finger, man. Like it didn't. Of course, by the time I did switch, I'd already been playing for about 20 years. So it didn't feel like totally foreign or weird to do. But I get it. I mean, there's another new drummer. He's actually a bass player, but he's practicing drums on the side. He's only been at it for a couple of years, and I was showing him the same tip, and he just could not make it happen. So I guess I just kind of take it for granted that I'm a little bit experienced. But I can see how it might feel weird for new drummers. Let's head on down here. Bobby Lopez wants to know if I know Randy Cook. Randy Cook is a sweetheart. Absolutely. He's one of the best drummers you'll ever see. And yeah, we're good friends. I've known Randy for a long time. Before he decided to make the move out to California, he was pretty busy out here in Toronto, but he decided to take charge of his career, make the big move down to California. There's a podcast, I don't know if you guys have heard it, but there's a podcast called I'd Hit That. Randy's got a great episode on that. Talks about his whole journey moving to California. It's a pretty inspiring story, man. If you're looking to get into the business and you want to pursue a career doing that, and you're thinking about making a big move, don't let this COVID thing, listen to me, don't let none of this COVID stuff put a dark cloud over your aspirations. This might be somewhat of a new normal, but there's still a music industry. It did slow down, yes, but if you had aspirations to become a professional drummer, don't let this COVID mess slow you down, man. Just keep at it. No Marino from Texas. What's happening, man? See you. Drum Master wants to know, how can I be able to hear 4/4 and 6/8 time signatures? Because I have a hard time trying to hear time signatures. Let me think about that one for a second. Water helps me think. Hang on a sec. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want this to sound like some kind of a cop-out answer, but a lot of it just has to do with experience. And the more in tune your ears get, the longer you play, the more you'll be able to hear and recognize these time signatures. 4/4 and 6/8 are cool because the two of them work really, really well together. And if you know how to mesh them together, you can take advantage of that and play like 4/4 fills over 6/8 and 6/8 fills over 4/4, and they'll line up perfectly. But those two time signatures, if we're going, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, like that. You can also go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So from main tempo is that 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, you can go down 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It just becomes ingrained in your memory, and you can have a lot of fun with that once you're able to hear it. But I mean, I guess the best thing to do to be able to recognize it is to just turn on a click and set it to 6/8, and just get used to hearing it. Just get used to hearing what that sounds like in your head, because it's almost like a muscle. Like once it gets in there, it's in there. Like you can't unlearn how to hear 6/8. It might take a little bit to be able to, do that and hear 6/8 against 4/4 and how the two of them kind of work together. But yeah, other than that, man, it's just a matter of turning on the click, setting it to a time signature, and then just listening. 6/8 is my favorite time signature to play in. It's like lying in a hammock for me. Like it's that comfortable. It's just a really relaxing. I just love that. Angry Patriot says he lives in an apartment and I have to be quiet, so he has an e-kit. We were just talking about electronic kits. He's in an apartment, so he needs one. That's probably why his name's the Angry Patriot, because that would tick me off too. Yeah, Rusty says if you got to play an electronic kit, Roland is the one. I think I agree. I would agree with that. Roland has cornered the market on electronic kits for a lot of years. I still don't think they got it right with the high-end stuff, to be 100% honest with you, because it's still like if you're trying to do a roll on one of their like top shelf snare drums, it still sounds like cheap gunshots from a toy gun, which at this point shouldn't impress anybody. You should have got it together by now. My opinion, man, Roland should have did this a long time ago. Forget about throwing all of the crazy technology inside that $3,000 brain that comes with the kit. Just give us the empty brain, give us the triggers, pair it up with software like Superior Drummer or something like that. You'll blow all the other kits out of the water. Once you pair, like if you forget about the guts and the technology and the stock sounds that come on a Roland kit, don't even use them at all. Pair it together with like a laptop and software, like software drums. Way better experience. They'll sound way better. They'll respond better. It's just a better experience. So their kits don't have to be $8,000, man. Knock the price of the kit down to under $4,000. Give us an empty brain bundled software, good to go. Take my word on that, man. If there's anybody watching from Roland, take my advice. Trust me, you'll sell way more of those kits than the other ones. Because even when you get one of them high-end kits, there's only 3 of them. Probably 3 stock kits that you're going to end up using. The rest of them are useless. What am I going to do with a broken glass sound or the sound of a dog barking, right? Come on now. Come on. I'm trying not to get riled up at Roland. Misfit138 wants to know, you got any recommendations for funk? Are you talking as far as learning funk or listening to funk? My answer is probably going to be the same for both. Anyways, if you want to learn funk, man, if you really want to get into funk, you got to get back, just hop in your car, pack a bag, and drive all the way back to like mid-70s, late 70s, early 80s. That is your funk window. That is the apex of funk music for me. Like, I'm an 80s kid. Totally appreciate the funk that came out in the 70s because that completely inspired the stuff that came out in the 80s. But I'm all about 80s funk. I grew up, spent a little bit of time in South Florida when I was a kid. I was about 9 years old and lived down there around like Fort Lauderdale area. 24 hours a day, funk. WRBD FM. Prince, Shaka Khan, Lakeside, Cameo, Roger Troutman, Steve Arrington. That, for me, is the mountaintop for funk. And if you really want to get into that, you got to go back and listen to that stuff, man. There's a lot of cool music coming out, like recently and these days. You can find some good stuff. Stay away from the Bruno Mars and all that mess. That ain't funk. Daft Punk, that ain't funk. Who else? Those guys, the dudes there with the Joe Dart. That's not funk. You got to go back. Go back to the late 70s, early 80s. Listen to that stuff, man. Build up your funk history with that. Make that your foundation, and you'll be one of the funkiest drummers alive. Trust me on this, man. Trust me on this. If there's anybody out there that can vouch, back me up. Man, you see, I was on a streak with pronouncing names, and then this one comes up and completely threw my game off. But I'm going to read his question. I'm not even going to, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. It starts with an Ovid. I recognize the Ovid, but it's followed up with an IJUS. I'm going to say Ovidius. Final answer. Anyways, he wants to know what splash I'm using. It sounds so delicious. I fully agree. This is a 10-inch Dark Energy, Paiste Signature Dark Energy splash. If you look up splash cymbals in the Webster's Dictionary, if there's a sound sample, this is going to be it. This is the definition of what splash cymbals sound like. So check one out. Go to the Paiste site. Take on, give a listen for yourself. Noah wants to know what year I was in Fort Lauderdale. It was early, bro. It was like, I don't even know, 80, 82, maybe? 81, 82, 83, somewhere around there. Thoughts on how to be as clean as Carter Beauford? I don't know, man. Depends. If you're talking about hygiene, I don't know, because I never sat beside him, but I'd assume he smells quite nice. If you're talking technique, that is just tons and tons and tons of practice, man. A lot of these pinpoint drummers that can really get around the kit and sound super duper clean. Shout out to Eric Moore. He's probably one of the best examples of that. This guy can fly around his kit like you've never seen, and you hear every single note. You don't hear like an accidental rim click, nothing. Like this guy is pinpoint accurate. A lot of that, I guess, just has to do with just there's some muscle memory involved there, and you know, just practicing basic exercises, getting around your kit at moderate to high tempos, and you'll totally develop that. Stu Holland from England, what's happening? Enrique, let me roll that R. Enrique Boudon. Shout out from Chile, man. He's watching from Chile. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Tony Royster Jr., he's another one. Thomas Pridgeon, another one. There's a lot of dudes out there. Beasts. Wow. Hang on a second. Give me a second. Let me work this name out. Man, I'm sorry, Roshan. You're gonna have to school me on your last name, man. I don't want to mess it up. I'm gonna say Roshan Maharan. I'm assuming I'm close. Hopefully I'm close. But he's a big fan from Nepal. Shout out to Nepal, man. That's cool stuff. Hey, I think it's time for a commercial break because I need to remind y'all why you're here. All right? You see this hoodie I'm wearing right here? These things are selling like McNuggets. If you don't have one yet, you need to snatch one up. These things come in 3 different colors. They come in red, that you see me wearing here. Comes in this really cool sort of bluish, indigo type blue type of thing. There's also matching joggers to this hoodie. And it also comes in black. I'm definitely getting the black one. The red one is my sample, but I am definitely getting the black one. But we're here to celebrate this collection that I have with Puma. Very special. Very limited. This thing's only available until the 21st. All right. So I really want you guys to take advantage. If you didn't already snatch a piece from the collection, please do so. You still got time. You got until the 21st. Let me show you some of these looks. These are the joggers with the matching, well, not the matching blue tee, but it's a blue tee. The joggers are really comfortable. It's a cotton polyester blend. You got Puma on one pocket. You got the Rooted in Rhythm logo on the other pocket. Very cool, really comfortable. Made out of the exact same material as the hoodie. I'll show you some casual looks here. Look at that. There's the blue tee with jeans. Those are my white. I'm rocking the white Ferraris, Puma Ferraris with them. Drift Cat 5s. I told you about them sneakers before. There's another shot of the t-shirt, casual, pair of jeans. This is what you look like at the gig. You can look this cool while your guitar player's out trying to chat it up with the chick at the bar at the end of the night. Of course, you're the last one out and the only one carrying your stuff out. That's just how it works. Yeah, these are cool pieces, man. Here's another shot of the joggers. That's what the taper looks like, if you've been wondering. They're not super baggy at the bottom. They taper out really nice down there. So they're pretty comfortable to play in as well. There's a whole ensemble. Good looking dude right there under the light. And that's a serious beatdown. I was a model in a former life. Decided to bring him out for this here shoot. But this is it, bro. That's the collection, man. I'm super excited about this thing. I'm really proud to be able to do this with Puma, and I hope you guys will take advantage of this during the time allotted. Again, you got until the 21st. Link is in the description box where you can snatch yourself one of these pairs up or a couple of pieces. Do what you need to do, but make sure you don't miss out. This is a super special thing. So that is the commercial break for the day. Got a few minutes left. So I'm gonna go back to this chat room, see who else is here. See who else is here. Debbie calling me Canada's next top model. I don't know, you might be right. I might have a second career other than this whole drum thing. I'm down. By the way, I'm not a super crazy, experienced model. I just look in the mirror a lot. So Joshua Thomas wants to know any tips on how to sync. Hang on, let me read this slow. Any tips on how to sync with your band better, like locking up with the bassist? Well, one thing I know, man, it's kind of a tough question to answer, I think, because you both kind of have to be on the same level of confidence. It can be super frustrating. I've been in a lot of situations where I played with slightly less experienced bass players, and for the life of them, they don't have any ears. They can't lock on to anything that I'm doing. That can be a little frustrating. When you're a drummer, when you're an experienced drummer, and you know how to hold it down, and you're playing with a bass player that knows how to hold it down, I tell you, man, there's no greater match in the world. Doesn't even have to be anybody else in the room. Like when the two of you guys lock up like that, there's no greater feeling than both of y'all locking it up. All I can tell you, man, is that you got to play with confidence. Number one. That's the number one thing. Play with confidence. Whatever it is that you're playing on the kit, whatever groove you're nailing, nail it. Commit. Play it with confidence. Make sure your timing is good. Make sure you're subdividing everything right. And if you need to give your bassist a tip, and say, hey, this is what I'm playing on my kick drum. If you want to lock up with it, that's cool. Isolate the pattern that you're playing on the bass drum, and then tell them to just make that your foundation. Play around with that. He has a choice. He can either play against it or he can lock on with it. But yeah, when you're locking up, as far as how to lock up with a band better, consider yourself the one responsible for holding it down. Number one, right? And just tell yourself that it's their job to lock up with what you're doing. It's not arrogant to say. It isn't. Because we're the ones back there, whether they want to admit it or not, we're driving the bus. If we speed up, they speed up. If we slow down, they slow down. If we're locking something out, if we're locking up on a groove or something on the stage and the guitar player speeds up, he needs to slow down, right? He's got to adapt, not you. So you got to have the confidence, man, to be able to hold the groove down with enough confidence that that everyone else will feel confident enough to lock up with you. Yeah. Who else is? I'm going to say Nanad Angelic. Might have messed that up. Apologies if I did. but he wants to know where my black stage customs are. You can't see them. They're off camera, but they're right there. They're still in the cases. I haven't gigged since, I don't even know when the last time I actually played a gig was. It might have been back in January-ish, maybe. Anyways, they're chilling in the cases. They're right over there. They're ready to go out when they need to go out. But I'll leave them in the cases. I'm going to take one more question, and then we're going to wrap this up. I'm just making up for lost time here, man, because we had that hiccup earlier with the Wi-Fi. So I can hang out a little bit longer with y'all. Hey, Beat Down, good evening. How are you? I'm good. It's still afternoon here, wherever you're at. Good luck. Shouting out from Italy. Shout out to Italy, man. James Moss says, when the merch arrives, I may email you a video clip of me hitting some quality rhythms from Wales, UK, whilst wearing the merch. You know what? This stuff is going to start to ship after the 29th. When you receive your gear, if you don't follow me on Instagram already, follow me on the gram and tag me in it. Tag me in your videos wearing the merch. Tag me in it while you're playing the drums, while you're out to dinner, while you're out there jogging, while you're setting up your kit, while you're backyard barbecuing out on the patio, whatever you're doing, as long as you're wearing the merch, rock that mess and tag me in it, because I'm going to want to see that, man, for sure. Yeah, and we're going to, I'm going to wrap this up. We're going to wrap this up with a statement from Mr. Tom V. Says he's enjoying this. He's got a question. Are you going to live stream again at this point? I wanted to make an announcement before I leave here. You guys ain't in no rush. You can hang around for another couple of minutes. But here's the thing, man. I said before we got cut off that this is really, like before this launch, I haven't done any live streams anywhere, on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. And I ended up liking it way more than I thought I would. Hanging out with you guys here is really cool. Being able to interact with you dudes in real time, and you ladies, don't want to leave y'all out. But being able to hang around with y'all like this and interact in real time and answer questions, it's a cool thing, man. It's a cool thing. And I enjoy the setup that I got going on here. So the announcement that I wanted to make is that I'm so happy with this and how it's been going that this is the last live stream for this week. But this format is here to stay. I'm going to keep this going. The live stream is going to be a regular part of the content here on this channel. There are other things that I've been wanting to pursue, aside from the videos that I've been doing, just as a way to continue to step my game up and move forward with this channel. I've been considering getting into podcasts. If you've been with this channel for, longer than 4 or 5 years, you might remember that I used to do a segment on the channel called Ask Beatdown, where it's basically just like a write-in. You write in your questions. I would pick a few and then read them on the channel. That's another thing that I'm planning to bring back with this format. It's pretty much the same thing as we've been doing for the last hour or so. Showing you guys new toys, the review thing that I like to do. Instead of doing actual review videos, I can include it in this type of format. There's a lot of different things that I can do now that I've incorporated live streaming and that I know how it is. I know how much you guys dig it. It's fun for everybody. So that's one announcement that I wanted to make before I signed off here. The live stream is going to become a regular thing on this channel, probably as of October, as of next month. I'm thinking I'm going to start with once a month. I think once a month is cool because I still got to do the videos for y'all. But once a month, I can fit in. So 1 week out of the month, going to live stream, and we're just going to interact. Going to answer questions. We're going to connect, talk about drums. I'll show you some new gear if I got new gear. But yeah, man, it's just a cool thing. I dig this live stream format. It's really worked out well. And plus I got all the gear now to do it. So that's here to stay. But my friends, unboxings, yeah, unboxings, Bobby Lopez, we'll do unboxings too. There's a lot of stuff I can do in here. It's like a TV show. There's nothing I can't do now that we're live streaming. But anyways, I got to get up out of here, man. I got to get up out of here because my ribs have been going for a couple hours. I gotta go check them and see where they're at. So, man, thank y'all for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of this dream come true for me. Make sure you grab a piece of merch from this collection before the 21st. This is the last one for this week. I may return on the last day of the drop, the 21st. I may come back here because I want to make sure that on the last day, I want to make sure everybody's taken care of. All right. So write that down on your calendar. The last day, the 21st, last day of the drop, I believe it's a Monday. Consider meeting me back here. I'll let you know for sure. If you follow me on the gram, I'll let you know if we're coming back for one last ride before the drop is done. But that's it for me, man. I'm going to bounce. Thanks all y'all. Appreciate seeing you all in the chat. You can watch this afterwards. Feel free to leave a comment. This entire stream will be up later this evening if you want to check it out. And I'm out. I'm going to leave you with that for 5 seconds. Then I'm going to come back and say peace out. Have a good weekend.